Well, today's rising unemployment rate has left so many job seekers frustrated and ready to call it quits. Our next guest today has ways to reinvigorate your job search. Christopher Kuselias joins us now with advice and a brand new book that's out. It's called The Career Guarantee. There you can see it. There you're on the front there, Chris. Good to have you on the program.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. All right, career guarantee. It's an oxymoron. There are no guarantees when it comes to your career.
Absolutely, but there is a guarantee to that book, and that's what this is. If you don't find passion and purpose in your job after reading that book, we want you to send the book back for a full refund. There's so many people struggling today, so many folks scared about the economy, displaced workers, dislocated workers. We've condensed 25 years of research into that book, but it's not just our opinion. We've really interviewed what employers are looking for. What are the things that cause someone to get hired or thank you, we'll keep you in mind? That's what's in that book.
All right, tell us, what are the things employers are looking for?
Passion. You know, most of the jobs in this country, 70% can be learned within 2 weeks or less. If you interview a lot of the big time employers in this area and you say, what's the number one thing you're looking for today? They're going to say, show me somebody who has a passion and energy for the position, because I can teach them how to do the job. What I can't teach is someone who gets excited every day and comes to work.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does passion represent itself in the workplace? I mean, you don't want somebody, too much energy, but I mean,
sure you do.
Well, I don't know.
It might be too much coffee, but I'm saying, in my company, we have about 100 people. We were one of Inc. magazine's 500 fastest growing companies. And what we look for first and foremost is somebody who comes in is enthusiastic about our industry and our career. I don't care what kind of credentials they have. If somebody comes in and says, Chris, I want to do this work, this is why I'm interested in it, there's always a place on our team for that. And I think a lot of employers feel the same way today. All
right, we're looking at this particular time in history, though, and many people who've been out of a job for maybe a year or so, they say, hey, forget about my passion. I have to pay my mortgage. I've got to pay this college tuition. I got to keep the lights on.
Absolutely.
That's a luxury to look for a passion in a job. I just need a paycheck.
I lecture when I tell people is job stands for just over broke. If you find people who are doing it for the money, they're always going to be living paycheck to paycheck. Go find me someone who loves what they're doing, and you'll find someone who has a career and who is elevating themselves within an industry. Now look, there are practical realities. If you lose a job, you have college tuitions to pay, etc. You have to do whatever you have to do in that period. But I advise people to take the time to inventory their accomplishments, what they're good at. And just like any brand, Nike, Volvo, etc., have your own brand. If somebody sits in an interview and says, tell me about the brand called you, Becky, you'd be able to articulate your skills. And most people go, huh? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they do basically ask you that question. They just don't use the word brand. They
more and more they are.
Are they?
They absolutely
Tell
are.
me about yourself. So if you go into a job interview, how concise do you have to be? Should it be a more conversational response? I grew up in the Midwest and I settled in the East Coast. Or does it have to be bullet points right at them?
In the book, we talk about the 4 styles of the interviewer. Some people want facts and figures, and some people want you to talk about a picture on the wall or family, etc. You have to be able to read a person's personality. We teach you how to do that in the Career Guarantee, which is one of the reasons why it's been so successful. But then you tailor your presentation to the person across from you. If I were to go into an interview, the first thing I'd say is, Becky, what's the number one thing you're looking for in this candidate? And you may say it's leadership, or you may say it's innovation, or you may say it's ingenuity, or whatever word you pick. I then tailor my presentation to you. Sometimes people are selling A when the interviewer is really looking for B. And I think one of the things you have to do is become a proactive interviewer and find out early what that other person really seeks from you in a job.
All right, so let them get an introductory question out,
Absolutely.
And then you kind of come back with, what are you looking for?
Most people are not very good salespeople.
We're not good at selling ourselves.
Right, but you have to be able to be a champion for yourself. If you come into an interview, Becky, and you're not excited about who you are and understand your features and benefits, I'm not going to be that excited to you. And the key thing about what we teach is think of yourself as me incorporated. In the 21st century workplace, you are a product and you offer value. That's all you have, is what value do you have that I as an employer can use to either make money or save cost. Once people understand that mindset, they change their whole thought process around how they package and market themselves.
How do they represent that on the paper, on the resume?
Resume is probably the least important thing we teach.
Is it really?
It's like a mass mailing.
How do you get in? How do you get into the door if they haven't read your resume?
We talk about the skill of connecting. The old word was networking. You
Right.
go and you pass out your cards. Hey, how are you? Now it's connecting. It's setting up an emotional transference of feelings between you and I as a potential candidate or as a person who wants to help me out. You just had a gentleman come on before me and got a chance to share and network with him. I was fascinated by his information. We passed cards, and all of a sudden, we're going to talk again. I just walked in here, I don't know this gentleman, but now there's something of value that I can provide to him and he can provide to me. You always have to be on the alert to connect with people, and that's the key to finding a job, making good connections.
So even if you're not in jeopardy of losing your job, once you begin your career, a 22-year-old just out of college, you know, they're a little intimidated by all this. Some aren't. But you really have to start making those connections with people in both personally and professionally, I guess.
The average person today is going to hold 16 jobs, all right? 40% of the U.S. workforce is actively looking for a new job at any point in time. You are always connecting. You are always looking for a job. You're always thinking about what is my next and greatest opportunity.
All right, what is the best piece of advice right now? And I know you're probably going to gravitate toward passion, but you know, but for the people out watching our program who are perhaps either unhappy in their job or frustrated that they cannot find a job, what would you say to them right now?
Best piece of advice I give somebody is don't look for the in-demand occupations. Remember mortgages and financials were the hot rage a few years ago? A lot of unemployed mortgage brokers who are making a lot of money now looking for something to do. The best thing I can tell people is really take the time to step back, analyze who you are, what you bring to the table, what your skill set is. You know, most people spend more time on what to buy for their latest microwave, make, model, Kiplinger report, what's in it, how many BTUs. But they never take the time to sit back and say, this is who I am, and this is the value I bring to the marketplace, and this is how I want to tweak that marketability. They kind of just go out there and look for a job, and then they're at the mercy of an employer.
It is The Career Guarantee by Christopher Kuselias, and yes, there is a guarantee on this book. You get your money back if you don't find that you're successful in pursuing a new job and career. Chris, good having you on the program.
Great, thanks for having me.
Nice seeing you. And that's all for this week. We'll see you next week on 12 on the Money. I'm Rebecca Saran.